as we are entering March, another month rolls by, and what rolls by at the beginning of every month is, of course, yet another month of entries in the trading post for you to buy. Now, something that has happened before has repeated itself on the trading post, something that you might have seen or heard of before, which is getting your monthly reward from the trading post, which this time around is this thing right here. It's Teal. Is Teal the pet? Now, what's the deal with this? The deal is that, first of all, congratulations. The trading post has been now 13 months running. It was introduced January the 25th of 2023. So we are now gone to basically 13 full rotations. And what has happened this month is, of course, that the final reward is again a pet. Now, some players have been complaining that, this is free. You do earn every month tendies, trader's tenders, for you to buy stuff in the actual trading post. You earn 1,000 a month, you earn 500 every month, plus 1, 2, 3, 4, another 500 if you complete the monthly tasks from the trading post, right? So with 1,000 traders tenders for you to spend every month, you can go in and buy whatever you want. You have the ability to freeze something. If you don't own, for example, enough tenders to buy it immediately, you can just freeze it up for the next month. And what also comes with this is the monthly reward of filling up the points of the trading post with something usually cool. However, this time around, once again, has been a pet. Now, players have been complaining about the fact that, why do we have this, full transmog set costing 800 tenders? Why do we have a mount costing 750? You also have a bunch of other, transmog pieces, whether it is gear from weapons, armor, or again, mounts costing in the hundreds. Whereas a measly, shitty, we can even say, pet is the one you get for free. Now, in front of this fact, you usually have a couple of different angles to see this from. Angle number one points out that, well, this entire system is free. Up until a little over a year ago, this one didn't even exist. You had no option, no choice to be able to ever get these items, for example, that are now given to you for free. As long as you have your active subscription and you play the game, you can buy these things that you previously could not, right? So even if we get a pet as your monthly free reward, rather than, for example, one of the mounts or one of the full transmogs, it's still something you are getting for free anyways, whether it is for tenders or as a reward every month. Then you have the other side. The other side that is a little bit more malicious, a little bit more cynical in how Blizzard is operating this whole new system with the trading post, pointing out the fact that, for example, at the moment you can go in the shop. You can go in the shop and, for example, by buying something like the War Within base edition, you get 500 tenders, the heroic version gets you 750 tenders, and then the Mega Ultra whatever edition gives you 1,000 extra tenders. So some players are obviously saying, well, it makes sense for Blizzard to put this little shit here for free and then leave the actual cool stuff to cost trading tenders. So you actually have to spend your stuff to buy the things you want, like this one, for example. So the ones you get for free are intentionally, less interesting, less wanted, so that you can actually spend the tenders for the actual rewards you want and have an incentive in then later on going into the shop and actually buying these things to get your extra tenders. Now, to be fair, I did get, a reasonable amount of trading post rewards myself as well. Not that I use them that much, I don't even use the mounts I've gotten from the trading post, but they have still, at the end of the day, come completely for free. Maybe you are a super fan of the Magenta Cloud Serpent that you're using right now, or of the Eve's Ghastly Rider, right? and you still got them basically for free. Just by actually being in game, you got those for free. So whether or not this little rat is the reward of the month for free, which you wouldn't have wanted anyways, and even if it wasn't free, it would have costed 200 or 300 tenders instead of 900, right? So the discount you're getting for getting it for free is much smaller, right? It's still something that doesn't actually impact your game, as in, at least I assume, most players would be in the game to raid, to do Mythic Plus, to do PvP, perhaps to do just like role-playing, quests, leveling characters, pet battles. So what comes with the tenders is basically, an extra. This entire thing is an extra. Generally, you can fill this up just by playing every month. I didn't even take note that we were in a new month and we had to fill this bar again, and it's already almost halfway through just by doing a bunch of raid bosses and similar other activities in game, right? So it's not even that we're talking about something tedious that you have to grind every month. If this bar came along a bunch of specific daily quests and weekly quests just for this bar that you had to do, right? Imagine there was a brand new zone coming in with the patch or with the expansion, or maybe just the expansion itself having you complete 50 or 60 daily quests every month for you to be able to fill up this bar. Some players might have been annoyed, right? They're like, dude, we are like 3 months into the season. I just want to raid log. I don't want to be doing 50 or 60 daily quests just to get this bar filled. Or maybe I'm a PvP player. I just want to log in to do arenas. Why would I have to just do other things to fill this bar? It doesn't even seem to be the case. Most players would generally fill this one pretty easily just doing the activities they normally do. So it's not that bad to get this bar filled. I don't think it's that big of a problem right now. Even if it's not perhaps feeling too good about having the free reward of the month being something terrible, like in this case, this fluorescent mouse. But I don't think it would have too much of an impact on most of the players. I don't think most players were like, oh damn, I will only get 1,600 tenders this month together with what I had left. I can't buy all that I want. I guess I really must go to the shop and upgrade my base edition of War Within into the epic edition so I get 500 more tenders, right? I don't think that's a massive source of income from Blizzard. Maybe if we had here amongst these services, amongst the character transfers, the level boosts and whatnot, or the bundles, we also had something to straight up directly buy the tokens, right? Special offer, or maybe the token, $20 for this much gold, or maybe $20 for 1,000 tokens, right? That perhaps would have been a little bit more scummy, a little bit more shady from Blizzard. But right now, even after what we have heard from the community for a long time, like, oh yeah, 100% this entire system is just so that Blizzard in a while will turn this into a cash shop, into an in-game, a second version of an in-game cash shop to turn your tender generation into money, into real life money. Swipe your credit card to buy these by the thousands, right? Even when they announced, for example, the transmog tied to your class, and they were like 1,000 a pop, and there were 3 coming out every month, but you're only earning 1,000 tenders every month, meaning that if you wanted all 3 of the armors for each and every class, you had to buy more, you had to earn more tenders or save up the tenders to buy them all. Many players were like, oh yeah, this is a scheme, this is done on purpose so that you feel the need to get tenders from somewhere else, and that's when they will sweep in the shop in game to offer you tenders for money, right? At this point though, it's been 13 months, as we said, since the creation of the trading post, right? So it's been 13 months. How did the shop develop in terms of predatory shop system for you to earn tenders? Well, right now, after, as I said, 13 months, you still can't earn any tenders, any, you know, straight up purchase tenders from the system besides just the actually buying the expansion, which is something that happens every couple of years basically. And even then, it's just an extra month worth of tenders that you get from the epic edition of the War Within. So it's not that we are seeing this much of this shady, scammy system tied to the tenders right now. Yes, they came up in the shop in a couple of ways, like in this case the tied to the purchasing of the next expansion, but besides that they have kept themselves pretty much almost exclusively to you earning them, about 1,000 of them every month, right? So I don't think it's too big of a deal, either the fact that sometimes you can get your monthly free reward to be a shitty one that doesn't give you much for your worth in terms of the tenders you're saving by getting the stupid rat for free, as opposed to, for example, buying, you know, 750 you have to spend for this chicken, for example. But I still think it's a plenty decent system, and I would say in general it's an innocent system, right? It's an innocent system because it doesn't actually make the game in any way worse for you, unless you have a different point of view, unless your game, your play style, and your experience in game has been made factually worse by anything that has been added in the trading post. You know, if you are having a good day, you were planning on logging in and maybe doing some PvP, and then you hear that this little shit is what you get for free from the trading post, and you're like, no, I'm gonna go back to play Classic, to play Season of Discovery, to play TFT or something, because I'm too traumatized by this motherfucker right here to actually play the game. So unless you are one of those people, I would like to know exactly the reasoning why this guy caused so much of a mental breakdown. But outside of that, I don't think it's too bad, especially because someone ran up the numbers and counted all the 13 months of free stuff, and apparently out of 13 times, this is like the third pet out of the times you got your free reward. Most of the other times were like full transmogs or mounts. You had the infamous watch, right? The infamous to wrist transmog piece that was a watch that was also similarly bad. So that nets out to be about a third of the time. A third of the time the free reward was kind of like a cheap, disappointing reward, and the remaining 2/3 were more sizable free rewards you were getting from the trading post. So this was just to address the current lamentations around the offerings behind the trading post. I don't think it has gone, considering what players were saying the moment the trading post was announced, I don't think this has gone nearly as bad as players suggested over the months at this point. You know, 13 months later, there doesn't seem to be that much of an extra shady, predatory system tied behind earning more and more tenders if you actually fork out money from shop offers. There aren't really that many avenues for you to earn extra tenders beyond what everyone else can earn. So even if once in a while, you know, once every 3 months you get a shit reward like this guy, I don't think it's still too big of a deal. At the end of the day, the trading post is still completely free. You're getting stuff you weren't going to get before in the first place. And also it's not really for something particularly grindy, particularly annoying to actually complete, as most of the time you were going to fill that bar naturally just by, you know, actually playing the game. So with this, we are now done for the day on our, I guess, weekly drama watch, this time around centered around the rewards around the trading post. So let me guys know, of course, what do you think about how exactly did you feel about the trading post after a bit over a year since its implementation, if you think it was overall a net positive for the game, especially if it got you to play, to be in the game a little bit more compared to before, based on the rewards available inside the trading post, or if not, if you just are pretty much neutral or not really interested in much of anything that goes by in this new feature. For today, at the beginning of this week, as well as the beginning of this month of March, we are now leaving each other. We are starting, as usual, the goodbyes by thanking all of the Patreon supporters for the contribution and the help, but also, of course, everyone who is doing it for free. You can like and comment down below, as well as subscribe to the channel itself. Now, with these things out of the way, thank you guys again for watching. See you guys tomorrow, and in the meantime, and we are out. There you go. How to get to the standard. Good information.